Hi friends, myself K. Lakshmi, Assistant Professor in the Department of SNH, Chebrolu Engineering College, Class 7, topic Diffraction due to single slit. Diffraction due to single slit experimental arrangement is represented as it has a slit of width E and a monochromatic light of wavelength lambda. S dash is a screen. Here L is a convex lens. As we already discussed in the case of Fraunhofer diffraction, in the case of Fraunhofer diffraction, we use a convex lens to focus the rays. That's why here we use convex lens. So the screen is arranged exactly the focal length of the convex lens. Because of that, at focal length distance only the light rays are converge and meet on the screen. That's why screen is arranged exactly focal length of this convex lens. Now what is the experimental arrangement is? A width of slit AB is E. Now a plane wavefront W dash of monochromatic light of wavelength lambda is incident on a slit AB, and every point on wavefront of the slit will act as a source of secondary wavelets. As we already discussed in the definition of diffraction, the superimposition of each and every point of the secondary wavelets creates diffraction. And the same way here, after the slit, the light rays creates the secondary wavelets. These secondary wavelets are traveling in the direction of OP or brought to focus on P0. When you observe the figure, the lines which are meet at point P0 having no path difference, the secondary wavelets from AB which are brought to focus at P0 have no path difference. Thus an intensity at P0 is very high and it is known as central maxima. Actually, in interference there is only two cases are existed, that is maximum intensity and minimum intensity. And also we discuss in the differences between interference and diffractions. In interference, all the maximum intensities are having equally intensity, but in diffraction there is a rapid fall in intensity. That's why in diffraction there exist three cases. What are the three cases means? One is central maxima. So at the point P0 the light rays have no path difference. Automatically the intensity at the point P0 is very high and this point is called central maxima. And next, the secondary wavelets in a slit AB which makes an angle theta, that means after the obstacle or a slit the light rays are bent at the corners of the obstacle. So due to bending there is some angle of diffraction. That angle is represented by theta. Now OP0 is indicates the direction of brought to a point P1 on the screen, and intensity at point P1 depends on the path difference between the wavelets which are emitting from the A and B. That means we cannot define what is the position of P1, whether it is maximum intensity or minimum intensity. So let us find the what is the intensity at the point P1. So we start with the path difference between AP1 and BP1. So the path difference between AP1 and BP1 is find out with the help of this triangle. So for this purpose, here we draw a perpendicular, that is AC. So from the triangle of ABC, we find the path difference between AP1 and BP1. When you observe the diagram, the path difference between AP1 and BP1 is BC. So the BC value is found with the help of this triangle ABC. Here there is a perpendicular drawn, that is AC. Right angle is at C. So here the angle is theta. Then from the triangle ABC, BC is the path difference and it is indicated by the letter delta. From the triangle ABC, sin theta is equal to, so this is the hypotenuse, because of that C is the right angle. So automatically opposite side of the right angle is called hypotenuse. So AB is the hypotenuse. Here it is the theta value. So sin theta is equal to opposite side by hypotenuse. That means BC by AB. But AB is width of the slit. So simply it can be written as a small e. So sin theta can be written as BC by E. So BC value becomes to AB sin theta, and AB can be written as E because AB is the width of the slit. It is assumed as a small e. So AB sin theta becomes to E sin theta. As we know the relation between phase difference and path difference, phase difference is equal to 2 pi by lambda into path difference. So here we find the path difference, that value is E sin theta. So phase difference is equal to formula 2 pi by lambda into path difference, that is E sin theta. So finally we get the value of phase difference, that is 2 pi by lambda into E sin theta. Now once again we will observe the figure. This is the slit AB. Now this slit is split into n equal parts, and each part emitted a wave having amplitude wave A. Now what is the phase difference between two consecutive points? There are n equal parts, that means in each part there is a wave emitted having amplitude A. So automatically the phase difference between two consecutive points becomes to 1 by n into, already in the previous we find the path difference between the AP1 and BP1 is 2 pi by lambda into E sin theta. This is only for two consecutive points. Now what is the resultant amplitude for total number of divisions? It can be measured with the help of vector addition of amplitudes. So by using vector addition of amplitudes, so this is the vector addition of amplitudes. With the help of this vector addition amplitude, we finally find the resultant amplitude. So here this is the resultant amplitude. Capital R is equal to A sin n delta by 2 by sine delta by 2. Here n is the number of divisions, a is the amplitude of the single wave. Now here there are a number of divisions, that means a number of waves are emitted from the slit. Now the resultant amplitude for n number of waves becomes to a sine n delta by 2 by sine delta by 2. Now substitute the value of delta. Already here we find the value of delta, that is 1 by n into 2 pi by lambda e sin theta. This value you substitute here, n into delta, that is 2 pi by lambda into e sin theta. Here the 2 and 2 pi by lambda 2 are cancelled. Simply pi lambda e sin theta is there. And next sin n pi by lambda e sin theta. For simplification purpose, let us assume pi by lambda e sin theta is equal to alpha. So substitute the alpha here, that is sin alpha, sin of alpha by n. So here if alpha by n value is very small, then simply sin alpha by n can be written as alpha by n. For example, sin 0 value is 0. That means as theta is very small, sin theta is equal to theta. Like that, as alpha by n is very small, then sin alpha by n can be written as alpha by n. So a into sin alpha written as it is, sin of alpha by n, that is alpha by n. Simply now reverse the n value. So finally resultant amplitude is NA sin alpha by alpha. For a simplifying calculation, let us assume NA as capital A. Therefore resultant amplitude capital R is A sin alpha by alpha. This is the resultant amplitude only, but we have to find the intensity at the point P1, because we already know the intensity at a point P0 as central maxima, or it can be named as principal maxima also. Then what about the intensity at point P1, whether it is maxima or minima? That is our main point here we discuss. For that, first of all we find the formula for intensity. So here there is a value or formula for resultant amplitude, that is A sin alpha by alpha. But as the relation between intensity and the amplitude, intensity is equal to square of the amplitude, that is I is equal to R square. By simply squaring this equation, A square sin square alpha by alpha square. Now in diffraction there exist three cases. One is principal maxima, or it is also named as central maxima. Second case is secondary maxima, and finally minima. That means in interference there exist only two cases, that is maxima and minima, but in diffraction there exist three cases: principal maxima or secondary maxima and minima. Now what is the condition for? Already in interference also we discussed at what condition maximum intensity is obtained, minimum intensity obtained. In the similar way here also we discuss about the at what condition principal maxima is obtained, secondary maxima and minima. Now this is the first case. Here we discuss principal maxima or central maxima. So the condition for principal maxima is alpha is equal to 0. As we know, alpha value here from equation 2.34, alpha value is pi by lambda E sin theta. Now in this equation alpha is equal to 0. Then what happened? Pi by lambda E sin theta is also equal to 0. By cross multiplying, lambda also 0, 0 by pi, that is also 0. So simply sin theta is equal to 0. Sin theta is 0 at theta is equal to 0. That means the condition for principal maxima is alpha is equal to 0. At alpha is equal to 0, principal maxima is existed. Alpha value is pi by lambda E sin theta equal to 0. Now cross multiply lambda and pi, E also. So that means sin theta is equal to 0. Sin theta value is equal to 0 at theta is equal to 0. So now apply the condition sin theta is equal to 0, that means theta is equal to 0. The secondary wavelets are normally to slit and along OP naught and focus at point P naught. This maximum is known as principal maxima. Now by substituting the value of alpha here, A sin alpha by alpha, actually without limits, when theta is equal to 0 or alpha is equal to 0, the resultant amplitude becomes to 0. For example, substitute here, alpha is 0, sin 0 is 0, 0 by 0. So generally 0 by 0 or belongs to not defined terms. But here in such a cases, in mathematics we apply limits. With the help of limits, A sin alpha by alpha is written as, here A is a constant, just simply write the in front of the limit. So limit alpha tends to 0, sin alpha by alpha, that means it is like a formula, limit of A tends to 0, sin A by A, and this value is equal to 1 according to limit. So A into 1, A. So the maximum intensity I is equal to square of the amplitude. Here we find only amplitude. Now intensity is square of the amplitude, so square of A square. So this is here very important point is, when you substitute the value of alpha as a 0, resultant amplitude value is equal to 0 by 0. Without applying the limit value, it is not defined. But with the help of mathematics, there is a limits content, Basing on this limit properties, this value is calculated as limit alpha tends to 0 sin alpha by alpha. This value is equal to 1. So resultant amplitude is A. As a definition of intensity and amplitude, square of the amplitude is equal to intensity. So principal maxima is A square. So this is the first case, and the next one is minimum intensity. What is the condition for minimum intensity? The condition for minimum intensity is sin alpha is equal to 0. Here a very important point is, when sin alpha is equal to 0, simply you say that alpha value is 0. But already we discussed in the principal maxima, so it is suitable for both central maxima and minima. So here very important point is, sin alpha is 0, then alpha value does not take 0 comma plus or minus pi comma plus or minus 2 pi. Simply we omit the value of 0, because at that point central maxima is already formed. So alpha values you have to take from plus or minus pi, plus or minus 2 pi, and so on, plus or minus n pi. We should not take the value alpha starting from 0. Once again I repeat that the minimum intensity position, the condition for minimum intensity sin alpha is equal to 0. So alpha value is equal to 0 in these cases. What are the cases? 0, plus or minus pi, plus or minus 2 pi, plus or minus 3 pi, and so on, plus or minus n pi. But here we did not substitute the value alpha is equal to 0. Only we substitute alpha is equal to plus or minus pi, plus or minus 2 pi, and so on, plus or minus n pi. Because of that, n value is 0 is applicable for principal maxima. That means at n value is equal to 0, principal maxima is existed. On both sides of the central maxima or principal maxima, minimas are existed. That's why here plus or minus, we used plus or minus, that means both sides of the central maxima. Okay, here alpha values are taken only plus or minus pi, plus or minus 2 pi, plus or minus 3 pi, and so on, plus or minus n pi. We did not take the value of alpha is equal to 0. At that value there exists principal maxima. That is first case. First case is existed. So here only we write n value from 1, 2, 3 and so on. We did not write n value starting from 0. Okay. Now substitute the value of alpha here. Alpha is equal to formula pi by lambda into E sin theta. So plus or minus pi, plus or minus 2 pi, these values are commonly named as plus or minus n pi. Now on both sides cancel pi and pi. Now cross multiply lambda. So E sin theta is equal to plus or minus n lambda, where n value is from 1, 2, 3 and so on. You did not write the value n from starting 0. So this is the condition for minimum intensity. That means in the previous slide we discussed about the central maxima. Next case, secondary maxima. In addition of principal maxima, at alpha is equal to 0, there are weak secondary maximas between minima position. The positions of secondary maxima are obtained with the help of by differentiating the intensity. So intensity I formula is a square sin square alpha by alpha square. Now differentiation with respect to alpha. As we know the differentiation formula u by v. So u square, that is alpha square, next to v, that is alpha, and next to du, that is sin alpha, differentiation is cos alpha, minus sin alpha, that is u into dv, that means alpha differentiation is 1. Here a square sin square alpha by alpha square, first of all it is written as a sin alpha by alpha total ga whole square. So that is in the form of x square model. X square differentiation is 2 into x. Again differentiation of x is like u by v model. Once again I repeat, the secondary maxima is obtained by differentiation the principal maxima and equating to 0. That is di by d alpha is equal to 0. I formula is a square sin square alpha by alpha square. This can be written as a sin alpha by alpha whole square, or simply a square is a constant, just write the beside of the equation. It has only value sin alpha by alpha whole square. So differentiation of x square means 2 into x, that is 2 into sin alpha by alpha. Again differentiation of x, that is u by v model. So u square u into dv, that is differentiation of sin alpha cos alpha, minus u, that is sin alpha, v alpha differentiation is 1. So in the secondary maxima the condition is differentiation of central maxima equating to 0. That means these values are equating to 0. When you observe that 2 is a constant, that is not equal to 0. A square is also a constant, that is also not equal to 0. Initially we discussed that sin alpha by alpha not equal to 0, and also we apply the limit formula, that value is equal to 1. So if any two numbers are multiplication is equal to 0, that means one of the number value is equal to 0. So here there is a clarification, 2 is constant, a square is not equal to 0, sin alpha value is not equal to 0. So automatically this term is equal to 0. Now alpha cos alpha minus sin alpha by alpha square is equal to 0. Then cross multiply, alpha square is also 0. So simply alpha cos alpha minus sin alpha is equal to 0. Now alpha cos alpha minus sin alpha, next convert as a tan alpha. Now the equation is alpha is equal to tan alpha. Here the value of alpha satisfying the graphically by plotting the curves for y is equal to alpha and y is equal to tan alpha on the same graph. Now the value of alpha is obtained at the point of intersection of two curves. These point of intersection of the curves are obtained by alpha is equal to 0, plus or minus 3 pi by 2, plus or minus 5 pi by 2, plus or minus 7 pi by 2, and so on, plus or minus 2n plus 1 by 2 into pi. So this is the graphical representation. The straight line represents the graph for y is equal to alpha, and the remaining graph represents the y is equal to tan alpha. So the values of alpha are obtained the point of intersection of y is equal to alpha and y is equal to tan alpha. So here these are the point of intersections for y is equal to alpha straight line, and this is y is equal to tan alpha graph. So these are the points meet. So these points are obtained at the values plus or minus 3 pi by 2, plus or minus 5 pi by 2, plus or minus 7 pi by 2, and so on. So these are the values where the secondary maximas are existed. For alpha is equal to 0, the principal maxima I is equal to a square into sine of 3 pi by 2, that value is equal to a square by 22, and I2 value by substituting 5 pi by 2 in alpha value, that is a square by 62. Similarly, I3 by substituting the value of alpha 7 pi by 2, we get a square by 125, and so on. From the above expression, I maxima, I1, I2, I maximum is a square, comma, a square by 22, a square by 62, a square by 125, and so on. It is an evident that the most of the incident light is concentrated at the principal maxima. That means as the intensity beyond the central maxima is gradually decreases, only at the principal maxima the intensity is very high, that is its value is a square. This is the final intensity distribution curve. Intensity with alpha. So here this is the position of central maxima, and on both sides of the central maxima there exist minimas plus or minus pi, plus or minus 2 pi, plus or minus 3 pi, and also on both sides of the central maxima there exist secondary maximas like this, that is plus or minus a square by 22, plus or minus a square by 62, plus or minus a square by 125. So in a diffraction there exist three cases. One is central maxima, and the second one is minima, and third one is secondary maxima. This is about Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit. Thank you.